This conference will now be.
Hopefully everyone can able to see the screen, right? Okay. It is like why any programming language or any software is nothing but which is going to reduce the work that was done manually. So it is going to give the like it can be done with the very faster and in an easier manner. But when you want to understand that, as I told, like the computer is the one which will understand only the binary language, that is zero and ones. For that, we have first we have an introduction of assembly language, which will be converted into an zeros and ones, which is understandable by the computer. But there are some disadvantages in the assembly language, which is like you do not have the code reusability, which is present in the like your other languages, right? And you have C, which is like where it is like one of the structure oriented language, and where you have this code reusability was available. But the disadvantage with the C language is it's like a platform dependent. So that's the reason we go with the Java, and we have discussed why there is a Java and what are the like you have a lot of futures with the Java. And Java has like three versions like J2SE, J2EE, and J2ME. So as per this things, we have to cover core Java only. So J2EE is for enterprise and big kind of applications, and that's what yesterday we covered. Okay, and so we start now today with uh, like the core concepts as I told you, right? So basically we'll just today cover what is a class and what is an object, and what is a variable, this kind of basic things. And as I told even in yesterday, so this things whatever I'm just going to discussing may be known to most of the people, but my intention is this course is generally for it need to be understand for every individual who attending this, like if they are completely new to the software and they have not even idea on what is what. So for that particular individual also need to be understand. So that is the reason I was just going to tell in it in a very clear and detailed manner. Okay. uh, so what we saw yesterday is nothing but there is something, you have code reusability. It is like once you have written a code and you can able to use it a number of times, like you want to perform an addition function, right? So I want to perform that addition for function for 10 times, and for that 10 times I'll be calling, I'll write that particular code at one place and I'll be calling that method for 10 times. So here it is not required me to write that same piece of code a number of times, where you have achieved that code reusability, right? So here the concept comes with a function or a method. So whatever it may be, you call it as a function or you call it as a method. In C language, the people used to call it as a function, and but in Java, people call it as a method. So, what is a method? As I told you, right? So you need some addition, right? So for that, it is like some set of action, right? Similarly, you need some kind of subtraction, and you need division. You need some squaring, right? You have different kind of operations that you need to be do, right? But here the logic will not be the same for all kinds of operation, right? So for addition you will be doing a plus, for subtraction you will be doing a minus. So the law, like a minus b, the logic that you use differs from the operation to an operation, right? So here what I consider that as a method or a function is nothing but I'll just whatever the operation that I need, I'll be keeping that in one place and I'll call that as a method. It is like the method or a function is going to do some particular task for you. That's it. um, so what a method will have, a method will have variables, a method will have the how like we'll see how you declare a variable and what is that here. If you see, it's a simple example, right? So I have an int and age equals to 20. So here the int represents the data type. So what do you mean by the data type is nothing but here you may have representation in different formats, right? So for example, you want to represent in the height, it will be in the decimals, right? When you want to represent the name of a person, it will be in the format of letters, right? Alphabets. With an age, it will be in the form of numbers. So right, for every set of data you have some different kind of representation. For that we have there is a concept called data type. For example, when you want to represent in the integer with the numbers, you take it in int format. When I want to represent it in the characters like alphabets, I have a strings in Java, right? And I have a character in Java, like that. So here age is nothing but your number, right? Which where you will be representing with the data type called int. And here this is nothing but a variable name. So where I want to store this value, I'll be giving it as a variable name. So what is a value that I'm just storing it here. And here you just see the simple example where you get, for example, I've declared the variables a and b. And so where you have declared a variable, and this is what you are assigning it, the value for the variable, and that you call it as assignment. And the same way you are giving a b and you are giving a value, and what you are doing is you are declaring one more variable and you are just doing the addition of that two variables, and you call that as this things as like declaration as well as assignment. And as I told, what's a method? Method is something where it is going to represent some set of operation. Here if you see, this is a simple method. So what it is, this function of this method is nothing but I will pass two numbers, right? And I want the max number of it, right? For example, if I pass 3 and 5, my output should be 5. If I pass 10 and 20, my output should be 20, because 20 is greater than 10, right? So that is my functionality. That is my requirement. So for that, they have just written a method which is like, the name should be the name, it is like naming convention, right? So this is the name of the method max, because I just want the max number. And I am just passing two values, right? So I am passing 10 and 20 or 30 and 20, like that. So if I pass 30 and 20, I should be returning it as 30, because 30 is greater than 20. And here this is, we'll discuss more about this access specifiers, modifiers, on our upcoming sessions. And what I want, when I pass two numbers, I want some output. So the output is in what format? I want that in the number format only. So that is the reason you have a return type here. So the simple logic here, right? If x is greater than y, you return that, and if else, you are returning y. So I think this logic is very simple, right? So this is the declaration of your body, and this is a simple method. Okay. Even might be knowing all this, but I'm just telling you, and I hope no queries in it, right? Okay, fine. Okay. Now here comes generally what is a class and what is an object actually. Here you can see class is nothing but a virtual thing, and the object is a real thing that we use it in Java. And you get, for example, you have an object. So mobile is my object, right? So what a mobile will have? A mobile will have the color, it will have the price, and it will have model number. So all this I can consider that as nothing but the attributes or the variables, where a mobile has a, which has its futures, right? And what, from using mobile, what are the actions that I can perform, that I can call them as functions. So I can make a video call, I can make a chatting, I can make a call. So all this will be comes under your member functions, like that. So whatever the actions that whatever the actions that you do, I'm just telling it as a method, right? As I told, function and method both are same. You call function in C, and people are calling method in Java. So the basic thing is nothing but a method or a function will have some set of logic where you are going to perform some action, and it's going to return some data, or it may not return also. We'll see that part. So, so that is nothing but your object is nothing but your real thing. So when it comes to the class, is nothing but your virtual thing. Here, you have a class. A car is a class, but I cannot say which car and exact things. Whatever the naming, if I say a car, right? So that is nothing but what is the name of the car and what are the features of that car. What is that real thing? If I'm telling it, that is nothing but my object. So you get more understanding on this object class on upcoming things. So but this is a basic structure where you need a class and an object in Java. And what are the characteristics of an object? So what are the like futures, whatever you call it as, characteristics or futures of an object? So it has three things. One is like state, behavior, and identity. Okay. So a state represents the data of an object. So for example, what are the data present for an object, that you call it as state? As I told, mobile or these things, right? What a mobile or will have, right? You will be having the price of the mobile and the cost of the mobile, or you will be the model number. So that is nothing but your data of the mobile, right? I can call that as state. Okay. Behavior, so represents the behavior of an object, such as deposit, withdraw. This is like, if I take bank as an object, they are just giving this an example. So behavior, what I told with the phone, what is your behavior, is nothing but when you uh, like you can make a call, or you can make a chatting and all this. I can tell it as a behavior. So identity, it is like a internal thing by which is used to, like, every object will have some hash code thing where that object is gets stored, like as everyone has some address or something else, your object will also have the address, right? So for example, okay, I'll just give this with a simple example. So for example, if I consider employee as an object, right? So it will have a state, behavior. As I told, every object will have state, behavior, and an identity, right? So what represents state represents the data of an object, right? So what I can say, state. Can someone tell what will be the state for an employee? Like, what are the things that an employee, like IT, whatever the employees, that what the states the employee will have. Like, you can have the employee ID, right? Employee ID, or employee name. So this, I can able to tell that thing nothing but the data that an employee holds, right? And if I want to say what is a behavior, what will be the behavior of an employee, right? What are the actions that an employee can do? He can just if it is a software employee, he can just write a coding, right? Writing code, or like eat, sleep. So whatever the actions that he can able to perform, that I can able to tell that as in a behavior. Identity. So as I told, every object will have its unique thing, right? So you can, here in this case, you can consider employee ID, or whatever it, not an employee, or otherwise like a hash code or something for an identity. Is like a unique thing. If it is like I didn't have not told, I'm just considering employee ID as an identity. Similarly, for example, if I have a bank object, so employee is one of the object, and if I have a bank object, right? So if I just want to tell state, right? So for example, a bank object, what can be the state? What are the attributes that an object can have? Can someone please? Hello?
Features basically.
Yes, exactly. I'm just asking what are the attributes that a bank can have, basically. So as I told, every object will have some three things, right? One is like state, behavior, and identity. So state is nothing but the attributes or the fields that you have in an object, right? Behavior is nothing but by using that fields, or by using that things, what are the actions that you call, what are the methods that you, or like what are the actions that it performs, or the function or method that you call it as a behavior, right? And I'll just give an example, like a employee may have employee name, and what are the action that he can do is nothing but he can write a code, or do like eat, sleep. These are nothing but some actions that he's doing, right? Similarly, if I am considering bank as an object, I'm just asking you what can be the attributes that bank can have.
Account number.
Bank name.
Yes, exactly.
number.
That's what. Account number. right? Your holder name, like that, right? So these are nothing but the attributes. And when it comes to the behavior, what can be the behavior of a bank object? So what are the actions that I can do on a bank on my bank object?
Deposits,
Deposit,
withdrawals,
Yes,
withdraw.
yes, exactly. Withdraw. These are nothing but the actions that I can perform, right? So similarly, like identity is something like a hash code or something that you can consider. So these are nothing but you, for every object, you have this kind of behavior. So you get more understanding on this as we go on. Thank you for that. Thank you for the response. So it's like just what's the difference between the class and the object? So as I told, the class is something, the virtual thing or a blueprint. Object is something, a real entity where you use it, right? So you can just go through the slide. That's what we get these things more clear. Physical entity, and it's like a logical entity where this is the syntax that you create an object, and this is how you declare a class. Okay. So, and when I want to create an object, I'll be using my class name and some reference variable new and a class name. If you see, I was having an employee class, right? So this is how I declare a class. So inside the class, you will be creating n number of objects, right? So if I have a like organization, right? So there will be like 100 employees or 200 employees. So all are nothing but I'll be creating with an object. So the virtual thing I'll just represent with the class actually. The same way, whatever the bank, that what we see, like you have a bank, right? And whatever in the bank you may have accounts, right? And all that accounts I can consider that as an object. So I can be having every, because every object has its unique thing, right? So my account will be different from other account, right? I have my own account number. I have my say account, like different account name, so which will be different from other accounts. The same like an employee will have an id, employee will have a name, so which is different from other employees. So under a class or under the class you'll be declaring in creating a number of objects. Okay. So there are like two different ways. One is like to create an object by, one is like different ways. One is like by using new keyword. This is how you create an object here, and by using new instance and clone, there are like different various scenarios that you'll be using to create an object. But when you want to create a class, you need to be using a keyword called class, and after that you should be declaring the name of that particular class which you want to declare. And, so like every program will have a main method, right? So in C also you'll have a main method. Here Java also has a main method. So this is how you declare a main method. So we'll discuss what is this access specifier, what is the static keyword, what is this return type. Just we now we saw whenever we don't want, whenever after a completing of execution of a method you don't want something to be written, you can just keep it as void. And main is a method name because it starts, your program's execution starts from this main method. For example, I have like 100 lines of code, but my code starts from this main method only. From main method only you need to be calling other methods. So uh, it is not like it will be executed once you call. For example, I have written 100 lines of code in another method, and if I'm not calling that, it is not going to be executed. But because my compiler is going to detect and comes to main method, from main method only you need to be executing the other methods. So we'll see this more whenever we go with the practical things. Okay, this is like a parameter that we pass. Okay, so what is a parameter? I think you are clear with this example also, right? Here if I just say this is nothing but your parameter list. So for a method may have a parameter, it may not have a parameter. So depends on the requirement. So as I told, here the requirement is nothing but when I want to I'll just give two numbers to a method. So and I just want the max number out of it. So in that case you need some parameter, right? So how you will give the two numbers to the method? So for that you will declare it in a parameters, right? So here int x, int y. So int is nothing but your data type. So I was giving it as a numbers, so that is the reason the data type is int. For example, I just want to pass a string value, right? Then I'll be giving a data type called string. So whatever that you call it as parameter list here. So here there are like a int is a parameter list. In the same way, if you come to the main method, what is your parameter list is nothing but your string arrays. Array is nothing but a group of similar items. So we discuss more little more on arrays also. If I have one letter, that is nothing but a string. But if it is like a similar items, like group of similar items, that can I can call I can make I can make it as an array also. So this is nothing but your parameter here. And
Sir,
you can see, yes.
sir, what is the
Yes.
role of this static keyword?
As I told, we'll be discussing what is static and non-static. These things more clear in upcoming things. So whenever we have this types of variables and these things, we'll be discussing more on that. So static is represents for a class, and non-static represents for an object level. So you get more clarity once we go with the topic. That's I'll be discussing that more.
Okay.
So if you see, this is the simple execution of a program, right? This is nothing but a simple Java program. As I told, how you declare a class, you write a class and the name of the class, right? And I've just opened the braces and I've just closed that parenthesis. After that, what I need to be writing, I need to be writing a method, right? So what is a method is nothing but it will have some set of action. As I told, every class should have a main method. So here I have declared the main method. So I've written the main method. So as I told, the syntax of the main should be like this: public, you will get understand why it is public. I'll tell why it is static, why this all these things. When we go with an access specifiers, when we go with static and non-static things, you'll understand why main method has declared in this particular with this particular syntax only. But as of now, you can just remember, right? The main method is, this is the declaration of your main method, like public, static, void main, and string of array, like the keyword, and this is the method name. Like the void is a return type from a method. After executing of the main method, you are not returning any value. So that is the reason here you have void. It's like this in this why you have int here. After execution, I want to return an integer value. That is the reason I have an int return type. Here I don't want, for a main method there is no return type. That is the reason you have void. So this is how you declare a method. And as I told you, whatever the code that you have, like you have 100 lines or 200 lines, you have written in some other place, right? So it is your duty to call that method from the main method. Else your compiler will not recognize and it is not going to execute, because whenever the program start executing, so your compiler comes to the main method, so it is going to execute whatever the blocks present in the main method and it is going to terminate it. So I have written a method called my function. So some function like addition, subtraction, some logic you have written here, and you have body, right? So from like what happens, your compiler calls from the first, as I told, it is going to come to the main method. So from main method, this is nothing but your method calling. So this I can say method declaration, right? So I've declared a method and I written some set of code for a method. So, but someone need to call that method. So someone need to invoke that method, whatever the terminology that you use. So from main method, what I'm doing, I'm calling this method. So you can just see the step one, right? So I'm just calling this method and it is going to execute all this code in this particular method. And after execution have completed, so from where it get called, from this main my function get called from main method. So it is going to return to the particular place from where it get called. So if there is any another function like function 2, again it's going to go to that function 2 and execute it, and it is again going to return to the place where it get called, Like if someone has given you some work and you have completed that work, right? So and after that what you do, you will just report, you'll just go them and tell that I have completed my work, right? In the same way, like main method has given some work, like my function, it has completed, and again it goes back to the main method. So this is the execution flow. Like whatever the number of like 1,000 lines or whatever the lines of code that you have, this is the execution of a particular your Java program. And I can able to debug and you show, and it gets more clarity for you. Okay, hope this is clear, right? Your execution flow and what is a method and what is a main method and how method gets called. Any queries in this, please, someone? If okay, if no, I'll continue. Thank you. So generally you have types of variables, right? Local, instance, and static. Local variable is nothing but the variable that you declare inside the method, and instance variable is nothing but the variable that is for object level, right? And static variable is something that for belongs to the class level. Don't worry, I'll be giving you with an examples, and we'll discuss more in detail of this local variable and instance variable and static variable. Like it's a simple example I can just tell you is nothing but what is local and static instances. So for example, I have a method void m1. So if I declare the some value int a equals to some 5 6, so here where I declare this variable is inside my method, so I can call this variable as nothing but my local variable. The scope of the variable is within the method, right? If the method execution completes, the value in the variable gets disappeared and it is going to store with the default value. So this I can call it as a local variable because I declared this inside a method. So for example, if I declare a method variable int b outside my method but inside the class like this, assuming that I have a class a and I've just declared a variable like this. There is no static keyword here, so that I can call it as instance variable. So this variable belongs to the object level. And if I declare a variable like this, int c with a static keyword, so this is nothing but my static variable, or I can call this as an object class level variable. Static means class level. So this is nothing but instance variable, or I can call that as object level variable. So this is my class, and here what you declared is nothing but without a outside a method, right? This variable was declared outside a method, and that's the reason without a static keyword. And I'm calling that, I'll be calling that as instance variable or object level variable. You'll get understanding why I'm calling this instance or object level variable with some examples that I'm going to teach you. So get more clarity on it. Hello, someone was asking something.
If you define
Okay.
some
Hmm.
number, then also it will be an instant variable, or suppose int be equal
Uh,
to some number.
some 6 7 like that you're telling.
Yes, correct.
It's an instance variable. Like this is nothing but you are assigning it. You are declaring and you are assigning it, right? So that does not make any difference. So it is also an instance variable
Okay, and this instance variable is
only.
also called global variable, or that is something different.
Like you can call it like not global, like static variables you can call it as global variables. So
Okay.
so you get this more understanding as we go with an examples, because with every topic I'm just giving an overview. But whatever we have seen here, right, in the slides, with the access specifiers or what is an object class, for sure we are going to have an examples. In that examples, when I with an eclipse, when I run a program, you get more and better understanding on that. So you may have little confusion now, because but when we go with the practicals, for sure you'll get better understanding on that. But just as of now, you can just remember, like if I declare any variable without static keyword, and if that variable is outside my method and inside my class, I can call that as instance variable or object level variable. And if I declare any variable outside my method and inside the class with a static keyword, so I can call that as a class level variable or static variable. And a variable that I declared inside a method, that is like local variable. It is not a static or it is not a instance. So the scope of the variable is within the method only. So after the method execution completes, the variable gets like the memory for the variable gets disappeared. Is it fine as of now? Like little understanding on this?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Okay, this is like a simple code. So like as I whatever the diagram, it's like a flow diagram, right? So if the a is like the greater, it's going to print that, and not, this is like a simple chart flow how a method works actually. So it is going to read that method and it's going to read greater, it's going to print this, not this, and end this program. It's like a simple chart flow where you want to design print the two numbers greater than. And this is where you have an input of three numbers, and when you want to print the largest number out of it. Okay, so this is like I can give some assignment or something, like if possible, can you just uh, write a program for this? We'll be writing it, but if possible, someone, if they if can like little idea or understanding also, you can just write a program to implement this flowchart. So generally how you will have this kind of scenarios, right? So you, when you have a problem, right, so when you want to find the solution, first you go with flow diagram, right? So based on that flow diagram, you can able to do that implementation, either in Java or C, what are the programming language, you can able to do that implementation, right? If so, the problem is like I have three numbers and I just want to print the largest number in this among the three numbers, right? So for that, I can there's a flow diagram is nothing but I'll just first compare with A and B. So if uh, A is greater than B, right? So like if yes, then what happens? I'll go here, I'll compare A with C. If A is not greater than B, obviously it means B is greater, then I need to compare B with C, right? So this is this logic, and you need to be implementing the same thing in the programming, like with if conditions or else conditions and all this. uh,
You want us to write in Java?
yes. uh,
Okay.
if someone is familiar, they can able to start like you can just take a uh, snap, or this anything anyway, this recordings will be shared, so that that time also you can just take this flow chart or you can write that in Java program. I'm just giving you like an assignment or once.
Okay. Okay.
We are going to just execute a simple Java programs that we have seen, and I'll just tell you like hope few may have this Eclipse and JDK JRE, or like but most of them, I hope, I'm expecting most of them was not having aware of it. I'll just try to tell you the installation and how you do it. So if possible, can you do it tomorrow, all of you, please? So please try to install JDK JRE 1.8 and Eclipse. So Eclipse is nothing but your editor tool, like where we will write the Java programs. Eclipse is nothing but your editor tool, where we'll be writing a Java programs.
Surya, are you going to show the JDK JRE 1.8 installation now?
It is like very simple, like already it was installed. So it is like I'm just going to tell the steps, so you can just follow that, and if you get any doubts or queries, you can just ping me, or otherwise we can see that queries doubts tomorrow actually.
Okay.
uh, so it is will be available in the internet, so JRE 1.8 and JDK. So So 1.8 or 1.8 is the like this is fine. There's a lot of versions came, but you can able to do with this. I think you heard about JR is nothing but Java runtime environment. So to run your Java application, you need this JRE, and to run this JDK is nothing but Java Development Kit. So which internally has this JRE. So here you can just go to the Chrome and just click on like download JDK, which is going to download that JDK in your system. Already I have in my system actually JDK 1.8. Okay, you need to be getting here. If you don't have Oracle, you can able to create a Oracle sign-in account. You can just give your Gmail identity. You can able to do the sign-in, and you can go to the SC downloads as per the compatibility. Like if it is like a 64-bit or 34-bit, if it is a Mac like that, based on your compatibility, just try to download your JDK version. So JDK here. So based on your system, and so you just try to download your JDK. After getting download your JDK, you can do an unzip, right? So extract that JDK, and it is going to ask you the few steps like installation, like policies, and check in that, right? So that's it. And it's going to get installed in your C with the program files. So it goes to here, C with program files, and you will have it gets with Java, and you will get a JDK, right? And which has internally JRE. So after installing your JDK 1.8, what you can do is nothing but you can just download an Eclipse. So try to download an Eclipse with enterprise edition actually. So whenever you try to download an Eclipse, it will ask you to download an Eclipse for enterprise as well as standalone. So if you do it for enterprise, you can do standalone application also. As I told yesterday, enterprise is nothing but when you want to do a web applications, right? Or when you want to do an interact with internet, you need this enterprise up you need this what I mean to say, enterprise enterprise application of Eclipse. So please remember, when you are trying to download an Eclipse, it will ask you a pop-up and show which version, like you want Eclipse for standalone application or you want for enterprise. These things, it will get an option for you. So try to read that and try to select enterprise and do it enterprise application Eclipse download. In that case, you can do enterprise and standalone. Both application can able to be run in enterprise thing. If you do download standalone Eclipse, it cannot run enterprise one. So here it is also free source. Try to just go to the Google Chrome and download Eclipse. So just and download with that compatibility for you, which is compatible for you. It means like if you are using Mac, that was that kind of thing, and if it is 32-bit, 64-bit, based on that, you just download it, and it is automatically. So this is what you can just click on download. I was not doing because I already had in my system. So click on download and make an extraction of that. So first download JDK, then try to download JDK Eclipse. So because your Eclipse cannot open if your system is not having JDK. So it will automatically trying to, when you do the downloading, it will automatically do that configuration like the path setting and all this. If not, you need to do a manual set of your the variable path in the system path like that. But we'll see if you get any issues. But if you first try to download your JDK or JRE and download the Eclipse, and it should work actually. After downloading, you can just create a workspace, and it will just can able to open that Eclipse in that particular workspace. We can able to write the coding for that. So you can see this enterprise and JDK application for that. So just try, after downloading, you can just create a workspace and you can open that, and we can just write writing the programs from tomorrow. We can start writing programs from tomorrow. So but if you have already, like if you have done with this Eclipse, and it will be better, right? So you can just immediately catch up with me and you can just even practice that. So Java is something like, if it is not, obviously any programming language is not a theory, right? So for sure you need a hands on it.
We have a session tomorrow.
Yes, yes. Okay, not tomorrow in the sense it is Monday. So we don't have sessions in Saturday and Sunday as of now. So it is like again on 8th. So that is the
And
reason
actually,
by the time. Mm, mm.
I have JDK 11 installed. So,
Oh,
but
that is
there
fine.
is no GRE inside it.
Okay, JDK should have JRE. Like when you open this JDK, it is not having JRE. If I see here like this, right?
No, actually, I don't see GRE inside the JDK.
Okay, try to reinstall or try to download this JRE 1.8. I'm not with it 111. I need to check actually. So try. You can just even download JRE separately. Even that is also fine actually.
GRE 1.8 you are saying.
Yes, on JRE one, uh, like the 11 version or even both actually. JDK 1.8, you can if you want, you can just delete that and you can download both JDK 1.8, JRE 1.8 like that also fine. As of now, because we are not using with the 11 thing, so I'm going to tell the concept with the 8 only.
Okay.
Mm. So so once you get downloaded, I think you can able to see the things like this. So here you will be creating a classes and you will be running it. So once you get created, first you will be creating a package, or otherwise that with a default package, I can able to create a class and I'll be writing a program and running on it. So how you create a class is nothing but I'll just go here and we'll have an option called new, and here it will give an option to create a class. So as I told, a class will start with a class and with the particular name. So that name I can go give. For example, I'm giving a name called employee. So I want to generate my class with a main method. As I told, every class should have a main method. So I'm just main method. So you can see the class gets automatically get created actually. What's created. And here, uh, as I told, you will be writing some set of code. And if I want to have a method, for example, I have a method called void m1, some method, and this is how you declare a method. And just system.out.println is something that you'll be writing to print some data on a console. So I'm just writing inside my m1 method. Okay, so if I run this now, so will I get inside my m1 method? Can someone, if I run this program, so whether I'll be getting an output?
No, it should be defined under main.
Yes, it is not like it should be called exactly whatever you tell, right? But I'm just telling in terminology, it should be called because, as you know, as I told, your compiler is going to come to the main method. So from main method, whatever the code that you write, it should be invoked. So I need to be invoking the main method. So how can I do if I call like this? It will work? No, I need to be creating an object. So we'll see why I need to create an object, why this is why that object creation is mandatory in the next session. But to call this main method, m1 method, I need to create an object. As I told, the syntax for creating an object is nothing but the class name, some reference variable, like how you have an int a and a value, right? Similarly, a class name and a reference variable emp and a new keyword and the class name. If you see it in the slide, that's what I've just shown you, right? So this is nothing but the syntax for object creation. The class name, some reference variable, and a new keyword. New is the one of the thing, and a class name with a constructor. So this you call it as not a class. This is nothing but your constructor. We'll see what is a constructor in upcoming. So as this is told. Somewhere we have seen. Somewhere we have object creation syntax. Fine, I forgot. So this is the syntax: class name employs a class name and the reference variable and new and keyword. And if I want to call this m1 method, I should be calling with reference variable dot m1 emp dot m1. So now this method gets executed. It means I can able to get an output called inside my m1 method. So I can have run as Java application. So you can see inside my main method. So this is like a simple Java program that we have executed. So we'll see more in upcoming classes why this object creation is important. What is this in static variables? Why you call it as non-static variables? Why that uh, uh, how you declare it and how the values gets assigned it. And we go more on with the things as I told. What is this constructor? And as upcoming you'll be get understanding why the main method should be calling with this name. So a lot more we'll be discussing in upcoming sessions. So but as of now you can just go with this particular classes what happened yesterday and today, and please try to do this installation of jdk jre and eclipse. You can just go with the google, like if you have get any queries or something you can ask me personally. If not, we can see that in monday also, but please try to complete your installation and this things get readied by monday, because you can able to easily start coding from the next classes. So the three things: one is eclipse, jdk, jre. Those are the only three things that you needed. Eclipse is nothing but editor tool. This is an eclipse where we write our program and execute. So this is for today. If no queries, I'll wind up the session. If any queries?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, whenever I am trying to create that Java class under package,
Mm.
whatever that pop-up I am getting, in that I am not getting all that public, private, or that I can choose. I am getting very small pop-up, and that is asking only name. Yes,
Here, like you are trying
yes,
to
yes.
create a
Yeah,
class
whenever
here,
I am
right?
trying to class, yes.
Mm.
Any setting for
Like
that?
here
I'm not
you're
getting
what
this
you're
full window.
okay, like the main method, everything you are not getting it.
I'm getting just name. It is asking to give me name only.
Okay, default setting is nothing but it should display everything.
Hmm.
But if this is not, if it's getting hide, there should be some settings in your Eclipse. Try to restart your Eclipse. If not, I'll
Okay.
just see and let you know. There should be some settings actually, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. If nothing, I'm just stopping the recording. We'll wind up the session. Thank you. Thank you all. We'll see on Monday.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.